What's going on, guys? VZ Duels here, back with another deck profile, and today I'm bringing you guys a fusion deck of Orcust, as well as Mitsurugi and Azamina. And I went undefeated at my locals. It was a small 3-round tournament. It was honestly kind of like a custom tournament, but it gave me a little bit of insight with the deck. It isn't complete because I was kind of scrounging for cards, particularly this one. I didn't take interest in the Orcust stuff when it got its support out of the Battles of the Legends. And later on, I was like, you know what? It's got synergy with the Mitsurugi engine that I've got, so why not play it? And it was fun. It was really fun. I was still learning some stuff. It's just a matter of finalizing the build with just one extra deck card and making the improvements needed. Side deck is a mess, but I'll still show it as far as what kind of ideology I had behind that. So let's just begin. And then also, if you guys see this playmat, I've seen people mention a couple of my playmats in my videos. This one is still available at the time of recording. I'll put a link of it down in the description. I think it's like $75. It's the same material that this company called Yggdrasil makes. It's a M4 fabric from them, and honestly, it feels wonderful, and it's just nice and durable. I love it. So this collaboration that they did with this Blueprints name, I don't know if I can get it on camera from here. But like I said, I'll link it below, but Blueprints with Yggdrasil made this one, and honestly, I'm a big fan of it because, I mean, it's Steamboat Willie. But anyways, enough of that. Let's get into the deck profile. As with any Orcust deck, you've got 3 Gearsu, because this helps you to get into your extensions and whatnot. Harp Horror, same thing. These two essentially do the exact same thing, and this does the same as this as a starter due to that link 1 that we just got. We got 1 Orcust Nightmare, 1 Symbol Skeleton. You don't need more than that. It really sucks to see this in the opening hand. It sucks seeing this in the opening hand unless you have a way to get rid of it. World Legacies, 1 World Wand, 1 World Crown, extension off of the Galatea, and to help you recycle stuff. But that's it for the Orcust. So then we go into the Mitsurugi, 3 Habakiri, because 3 Habakiri is amazing. 1 Murakumo, because this is your boss monster, but it can't summon itself or do really anything out of hand other than be a big level 8. But there is still use for this card, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Rest of the monsters, 1 Aramasa, 1 Saji, 1 Kusanagi. As I always said, I always like Saji more than Aramasa, contrary to what other people do. Just because I always get trolled, and I would rather do the Saji search and guarantee my spell, and given prayers is a quick play, you can just activate it and chain to a droll and search for something else. But just 1 of each is fine. As much as I'd like to run a second copy of this, 1 of each is perfectly fine. And then just 2 Black Witch. I do want to cut it down to 1. But just in case I really want to utilize a Wanted out of hand for any which reason. But for now, the 2 is fine. So as far as like making space, I would probably just cut this down to 1. That's it for engine monsters. So then we'll go to the spells for engine. 3 Prayers, broken card, speculated to go hit to 1. We haven't gotten our ban list today. Today is Sunday. I just finished watching the NAWCQ, and they haven't dropped the list yet, so we'll see. But it'll really suck if they hit this to 1, because then it really kills the engine's consistency as well as its ability to survive in the grind game. It'll make you very strongly dependent on the Kusanagi for the grind game. Like, you'll have to keep this in circulation, so it'll make a vulnerability if they put this to 1, but we'll see what they do. Hopefully they don't, just to keep this engine still going. I have a lot of plans for Mitsurugi and other decks. But that being that being said, when Mitsurugi Ritual, you don't want to see multiples. It's not like you're running a full reptile deck that you have materials in hand constantly for it. So I would only suggest running more than one of this if you're running like the Ogdodiac or something like that. But anyways, 3 wanted, consistency card, might as well run 3. And then on top of that, gets into your Omni Negate engine or your extension engine, either which way. 1 deception. You don't really need more than 1 for this. If you want to, you can. But it is a pretty nice card with the Mitsus because it says you contribute a monster from hand or field to add an Azamina card, meaning that you can actually, as you might have seen in my game against the fabled Fiendsmith, which unfortunately didn't go off because of Droll, which is the 1 vulnerability, but if it does go off, it goes off. You could use this to tribute a Mitsurugi and get its effects to search, or in the case of Kasanagi, return. 1 Azamina, 1 Hallowed Azamina, that's all you want. You don't want to see it in your hand, so just kind of bury it in your deck. And then the last card for spells, engine, 1 Orchestrated Babble. That's all you need, because you could add it back from the graveyard. You could, if it really calls for it, there is the possibility to get it out from Banish. It's just I haven't unlocked that for myself yet, because, again, I picked this engine up later, and I'm just missing 1 card, and you'll see what it is later. Only engine trap is Orcust Crescendo. Running the Mitsurugi one is just kind of bricky, so I just want to keep at least a Crescendo for the sake of a counter trap Omni Negate. Sometimes it ends up in hand and it sucks, but other than that, it's a very good card. Non-engine, 3 Fualos, 3 Ash Blossom, just kind of staples for the format. If anything, these never work for me, so as for an old list of mine, I'm considering on maybe just replacing these with some of my side deck options, which you'll see later, and I'll tell you which ones I'd consider, but I honestly feel like only running these if I know for a fact I'm going second, because winning the die roll and going first and opening this in this kind of a build sucks. In like the Rizio version, it makes a little bit more sense because you can actually use it as an extender. But rest of the non-engine, 3 Droll, 2 Nibiru. As much as I want to run the 3rd, I just want to try to make sure I don't run too much in the extra deck, because this is already going to be 45 cards. Only spell I run is Called By, and this is the part that sucks, because I would like to run Talent and Crossout Designator, but honestly, for this deck, it has enough gas to just play through hand traps, so Crossout Designator just doesn't feel right to me. And my speculation is I feel like going forward, the better main deck card over Crossout Designator is actually going to be Salesman. Just for the fact that you can call the Drone Lock, you can call Impulse. If you end up going second, you could be calling certain cards that you know your opponent's going to be interacting against you with, and it'll be able to hit all those, versus Crossout Designator, you have to run the outs. And while in the case of Orcust, it's not like you can chain Salesman to Lancia and negate its effects, you could just still play around with your other 2 engines to make that Lancia not even matter. But even then, it's just like, it's only at 1 anyway, so the chance of seeing it is kind of inconsistent, and I hate going second in game 1 and it's cross out, and I'm going into a board and it just does nothing for me. So that's why I just stuck with the Called By, because the Called By is much more universal. It can hit Fiendsmith, it can hit hand traps as usual, it can hit just like graveyard effects in general, but that's why I opted to make sure I at least ran this, but I would like to run Talent. And then the last is the 3 Imperm, just because Imperm's amazing. Especially because this deck has a lot of effects to special summon. Going against Fiendsmith, Imperm is your way to get around the High King Caesar. So that's it for main deck. Again, 45 cards. Extra deck, 1 Galatea Eye. Running 2 can be an option. It's not like Cash Tier is a big thing to worry about as far as like getting this thing banished face down, because the deck does recycle your banished Orcust cards anyway. So this isn't really something I'd worry too much about, and I don't think I necessarily need to. So I'm totally fine with the one. Second one never came up today for me anyway. But double regular Galatea, because this pretty much would be the thing that shuffles this back, worst case, to continue your plays. But that's just, again, this one's much more crucial. This one's amazing, but you don't necessarily need it. It could just be bait for your opponent. The rest of, I'm doing links first. So this is it for the Orcust stuff. I'm missing the Enlil Girsu. That's the main card that I'm saying that I'm missing here, because that's the one that can ultimately replenish cards back to my hand that are getting banished along the way. Things like the Crescendo if it ends up in graveyard. I've had that happen against my almost mirror match against the Mitsurugi Orcust build, where the Crescendo gets sent to the grave, and I just have no way to get it back into the deck or to my hand because I don't have the little Girsu. But anyways, that's it for the Orcust links. Other links, IP, SP, Dark. IP hasn't come up. This ideally is like how the old Orcust worked, where you take the Galatea, put the Dingirsu over it, and then you link this with just another extender off into the IP, leave symbol, skeleton, and grave for this, bring this out, and then the IP plus this gives you the SP, but it never came up. It was never a consistent route to play, so IP seems to be a flex spot more than I thought it would have been. The rest of the links, I did Cross Sheep for 2 reasons. 1, Fusion. 2, Ritual. The Fusion lets me special summon monsters from my graveyard if I see the Azamina stuff. So that can bring back a Orcust monster from my graveyard, like Girsu, or it could bring back Harp Horror if I really need the extender. But it's a good way to extend back if you get into your Azamina engine. So like I said, you could do like the Black Witch and then go into extender route, get this out, and then just special summon back whatever you sent for the Deception. But this was very minor. That's also a flex spot right here, so it's not necessary. Dark was amazing, by the way. It is an option because now everybody's playing Orcust, and there are the Malice matchups and stuff. I did misplay with this card in one round, but there was another round that it came in clutch, and that was my Psychic matchup, and you can go watch that video and see why. And spoiler, it's because when this is destroyed as a link summon monster, you get to add stuff, and there are legal targets in my deck. This can help you unbrick. And then the last link was Access Code Talker never truly came up. This is ultimately where that Enlil Girsu would belong. I was contemplating doing Boral's Sword Dragon, just in case I faced up against Lunalight, so that way I had an option to beat over him. But I feel like Access Code Talker would have been the more consistent way to do it. But at the same time, Access Code doesn't allow you to attack twice the way that Boral's Sword does. But duality of that, Boral's Sword requires 3+ materials versus Access Code that only requires 2. So it's kind of a 50-50 sort of thing, but I don't know, we'll see. It'll either be IP, Cross Sheep, or Access Code that gets taken out for Enlil Girsu, and maybe I'll contemplate the sword going in, but everything else past this is kind of tighter. So these are the 3 flex spots so far. Moving into the XYZs, Double Dingirsu, amazing card. Helps recycle banished resources so you could use them again. Or send a card that your opponent controls and non-targeting. Incredible card. 1 King of the Fair Limps. And that is because Orcusts have level 4s. And if you have Girsu sending Harp Horror, you can use Harp Horror, special summon another Girsu, and then get access to your Mitsurugi lines, which is absolutely insane. This card is allegedly on the chopping block, and I kind of hope it doesn't because I like that this allows you to bridge into that. But I guess they don't want too easy access through certain other engines, but it'll suck if they do end up hitting that. Last bit of XYZ's, Zombie Vampire never came up. Basically, it's the Mitsu's bridging into the Orcust engine if the need arises on that. And though it never came up for me, my opponent in the third round, my near mirror, he ended up using it, and it screwed me over because it sent my Mitsurugi Ritual and my Crescendo. I was hoping it would have sent more fodder for me to exploit, but it backfired on me. But I never got to go this because generally I'll see Orcust access anyway, so this is potential, but for the time being, I would say that this is still kind of crucial. And then because you get Dark Locked, this is still a Dark, you can still summon this, so Typhon. That's it for the XYZs. Moving into the fusions, and that's just the two typical Azaminas. Murcielago for your extension route, Illa Sylvia for your negate route. This will be to solidify your boards. This will be to just extend into link monsters and go into larger links. But that's it for the extra deck. Side deck, like I said, very wonky. Triple Lancia. And sorry they're commons, but I was like kind of scrapping this deck last minute, and I didn't know if I was going to get Galatea I today, or yesterday, I should say. So I was just kind of using old, already pre-sleeved cards, and Lancia was already in the deck that formerly was using these sleeves, so I just left it at that. So these are all low rarities and stuff. But honestly, I don't advocate that you have to play the highest rarities to play this game. 2 Ghost Bell, because Mitsu's and a lot of cards, Malice even, to an extent, I guess, Ryzeal. But yeah, Ghost Spell's very good this format. There's a lot of grave touching effects. And then to that right as well, 3 Bystials, 1 Magna, 1 Druis, 1 Baldrake, because banishing cards is good too. Despite Malice matchups, they are still good. Anyways, so that's monsters, spells, double Forbidden Droplets, because you don't mind sending cards out of hand to graveyard, especially if they are the Orcust cards. Very good. 1 Lightning Storm, 1 Feather Duster. I would like to do a second Lightning Storm, but again, space is a little tight, and I'm just still trying to figure stuff out for this build. That's it for spells, and then the last bit is 2 Solemn Judgment and another Omni-Negate Great Purification. You don't want to have multiple Great Purifications. You can activate multiple Judgments, so that's why you have the Judgments there. For an all-purpose Omni-Negate that you don't need special conditions to fulfill in order for it to be live. But anyways, that is the deck that I played with at Locals, and I plan to revisit this deck after I make use of Ryzeal and Mitsurugi a little bit more before they decide to drop the ban list, which is who knows when now. But anyways, guys, this is VZ Duo signing off. Thanks for watching.